When asked about how his debut performance in the NFL went, rookie offensive tackle Tyler Guyton responded with a blunt reproach. "Poorly." The one-word response was a bit jarring, but he felt it to be appropriate and doubled down on the depiction. "It's my first sack I've ever gave up. It hurts," Guyton said. "I feel like if I would have done the right things, there would have been none of that. I feel like my losses were on me. That's why I say I was poor." Guyton wasn't satisfied by the way his performance showed up on tape, or even in the moment. The rookie allowed a sack against Myles Garrett and Cleveland in Week 1 that resulted in an early fumble. Another pressure late in the first half that forced Dak Prescott out of the pocket. His debut provided a first regular season look from April's first-round pick, and the tape he delivered has film buffs across the country split on his first impression. Some believe he showed upside, others believe he struggled mightily. But there's no split in how Guyton viewed his showing. "The reps I lost, I feel like it was because of me," Guyton said. "I was setting a weird way, or I didn't have my footing right, or I'm not punching correctly. I feel like if I do everything I can win. Every rep when I'm doing something wrong, I'm doing something wrong." From the outside looking in, Guyton did his job. He allowed a pressure rate percentage of 5.4% across 37 pass-blocking snaps. While Garrett still had his way defensively at times, the offensive scheme protected Guyton throughout the game and allowed time for the backfield to flow away from the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. However, that's not the plan Guyton wants to rely on for the rest of his rookie season. Instead, he wants his self-criticism and mindset to become an avenue to improvement, no matter the opponent. "I'm not really good at enjoying my work. I always criticize myself, but that's how you have to be to play in this league," Guyton said. "The situation was against a great player like that in my first game on the road, and I couldn't even hear. The odds were against me, but I don't think it was terrible, but I feel like I could have been a lot better." Guyton's teammates certainly still have faith in his talent level. Prescott even provided some words of encouragement to his young left tackle and kept things in perspective after just one game. "There were times that maybe he got edged or maybe Myles got his hands on me or hit me a little bit after the play and Tyler almost apologized in a sense. Just move on the next play," Prescott said. "So, for me it's about just telling him to continue to move on. He's growing in each rep, he understands that. He's going to be a hell of a player. Especially, if he keeps those expectations and is tough on himself like that, he's going to be a hell of a player." Now that Guyton has seen one of the toughest challenges in the league, his attention turns to the rest of the league. Full of players that don't hold the same skill set and ability that Cleveland's front seven showcased in Week 1. Another test awaits this week as the Saints come to town, straight off their debut with 3 takeaways and 3 sacks against Carolina last week. None of which worries Guyton in the slightest, especially if he can keep his impenetrable mindset. "I believe in myself and I'm my biggest critic and I want to be great." So, you can't have that type of mindset. If you want to be the best, no matter who it is, it doesn't matter. It could be Joe Schmo or the best in the league. You got to want to win every rep. With Jake Ferguson questionable for the time being, how will the Cowboys handle the tight end position? I was surprised to see that Brevin Spanford played as many snaps as Luke Schoonmaker in the first game. Could the rookie become the main guy when Ferguson is absent? Nick Eatman: "I think the main guy would be Schoonmaker, if Ferguson is indeed out for the game. As of Friday morning, it's unclear what his status would be. He could be ruled out for the game by the afternoon, but he hasn't practiced Wednesday or Thursday, and that's not a great sign for him to play. Schoonmaker needs the opportunity to step up." Dak Prescott said on Thursday he has complete confidence in him and he just needs a chance to shine. What better time than Sunday if Ferguson is out? I don't know if the Cowboys would call up Princeton Fant from the practice squad. Hunter Luepke could handle the number 3 tight end duties like he did last week. And yes, Spanford would slide into the number 2 role. I think he's going to get better and better with every rep. They can handle it without Ferguson, but you obviously want to see him return as soon as possible. Patrick, as of now, it's still unknown if Ferguson will miss any time, and that itself is fantastic news when you consider he dodged a major injury. That said, in the event he is told to rest against the Saints and/or the Ravens over the next couple of weeks, yes, expect more work for Brevin Spanford. He's an angry blocker who can also catch passes, and that's a no-brainer that he'll move up in rep count. John Stevens Jr. is also one to keep an eye on this week, seeing as he missed the opener with a hamstring injury. The hope is he can go versus the Saints, and his ability to catch passes is the best in the bunch outside of Ferguson's, and I'll add that I would expect Princeton Fant to be elevated from the practice squad, though maybe less for tight end and more to spell Hunter Luepke in some fullback packages. Why's that? Well, considering how bullish Mike McCarthy, Brian Schottenheimer, and Jerry Jones have been this week in pushing Luepke to the front of the tight end line in a scenario where Ferguson doesn't play, you'd be wise to assume more production there as well. Also look for more targets to guys like Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks to help supplement the lost production. During his career with the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce has seen up and close a pretty good quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, after all, has helped him 3 Super Bowl rings. While the Dallas Cowboys' Dak Prescott doesn't have nearly the playoff success, he does have the respect and adulation of not only Kelce but also his brother, former Philadelphia Eagles All-Pro center Jason. Prescott, who is only 2-5 in the playoffs, last weekend signed a 4-year, $240 million contract to become the NFL's highest-paid player and first to make $60 million per season. But instead of jealousy or criticism, on their wildly popular New Heights podcast, the Kellce brothers threw their version of verbal bouquets at the feet of Prescott. "Can you have a better day?" Jason asked rhetorically. "Signed a multi-$100 million contract in the morning and then go out that afternoon and win your first game of the season, that's a day. That's a fun experience. Well done, Dak." Travis, meanwhile, applauded. "He's such a good guy," said Travis, who spent time with Dak this offseason at his tight end university. "Couldn't be happier for him. Especially with all the speculation and the injury and having to prove himself all over again. Proved it last season and now he's the highest-paid player in the league." Prescott finished second in the MVP voting to the Baltimore Ravens' Lamar Jackson last season after leading the league in completions and touchdowns. He threw for 179 yards and a touchdown in Dallas' season-opening blowout win over the Cleveland Browns. "I'm gonna upset some Eagles fans, but I like where Dak's at right now," Jason said. "You can see in his interviews how much more comfortable he is with being a leader in the NFL. The last 2 years it just appears he's more confident on the field and off the field. I'm digging his entire vibe." Added Travis, "He's figured it out." Now, to appease Cowboys fans and owner Jerry Jones, Prescott needs to figure out a way to win multiple playoff games in the same season. Something Dallas hasn't done since 1995. Dak's a nice enough guy, but pretty sure Travis would like to see Texas native Mahomes win a 4th ring next February.